This show is brought to you by HostBaby.com, web hosting for musicians.
Here on episode 23 of Music Marketing Monday, we talk about time shifting for musicians. That's right, being in multiple places at the same time. We talk about your past, your present, and your future in marketing all happen simultaneously. I guess you could say we're going all Neil deGrasse Tyson on your ass today. Stay tuned.
Information, inspiration, motivation for the modern musicpreneur.
Time to start your week right.
Here it comes, Music Marketing Monday, with your host, Bob Baker,
Mr. Buzz Factor,
and Billy Gryzak.
The Music Marketing Mind.
Ready? Are you sure?
Set.
Here it comes. Swing, baby.
1.21 gigawatts? 1.21 gigawatts? We don't need no 1.21 gigawatts to go to the future in this show, because we're having fun with time shifting and social media and email and everything. What's going on? Hey, I'm Billy Gryzak, the Music Marketing Mind, and this is
Bob Baker, Mr. Buzz Factor. Hey, Billy, I'm glad that even when you're traveling, which you've been doing a lot of this summer, you do not let that stop you from doing the podcast. You're in a hotel room somewhere, I think, this week, right?
I am. This week I'm in a hotel in Duluth, Minnesota. It's actually a beautiful water park, so when we get done here, I'll be splashing down the slide, sitting in a lazy river, just thinking about you, Bob.
I hope you got more to your life to do than that when you're at the water park, but I appreciate that. Well, that's cool. So are you gigging on this trip, or is this more of a family vacation?
I don't take vacations.
I know. I was saying there's got to be a gig
actually,
involved.
that's not 100% true. I take vacations all the time. I just get paid for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
a nice gig if you can get it.
Yeah, this is a tour of Minnesota where we started out. Well, actually, it was kind of funny. I did something crazy. I had an offer to do a theater show, which I love playing theaters. In fact, if I could basically just play theaters and festivals, I think I'd be a really happy guy. But we had an offer to do a theater all the way over in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan on Monday. So we had a show on Monday night in Michigan, and then we had to go all the way across Michigan, Wisconsin, into central Minnesota to play the following afternoon in Minnesota. And then we had a day off and visited Will Hale, who's another children's family performer. And then we came up here to Duluth, and we'll be here for the weekend, actually 3 or 4 days, with the Thomas the Train Festival here in Duluth.
Cool. That name, Will Hale, rings a bell. I think he's been a member or been on my list for a long time, and I didn't realize you guys were connected until just recently.
Oh yeah, we used to be on the members of the Children's Music Network together, and he's also for many years was the host of the Family Groove radio show in Minnesota, and he's been a children's performer for probably before I was. So
wow,
yeah, he's a cool dude, and we've been friends. In fact, we've co-written maybe half dozen songs together. And
nice.
Cool
sweet. So let's talk about this thing about time shifting and all that big, hoopla that I did at the beginning of the show there. But I think of like 3 different aspects of this that I know I'd like to cover. And it kind of dovetails with what we talked about last week, which was all about the tough love guide to email marketing. And in there, we talked about autoresponders, which sort of ties into this thing about how to be multiple places on social media. So you want to attack the social media aspect of it first, maybe?
Right. Well, first of all, we're doing time shifting. Does that mean I need to set my VCR?
I think you do. Yeah, yours is probably still flashing zeros.
Absolutely. Well, basically, what we're talking about is a great way for you to work smarter and not have to work harder by being able to reply to, respond to, send information out, and basically, be in more places at once in the future by doing things today. Let's start with the email first, because we'll wrap up last week. So email autoresponders are a wonderful, wonderful thing. At the very, very simplest way that I can explain an autoresponder is if you ever emailed someone, you got a message back that said, "Hi, I'm on vacation. I'll be back in 2 weeks and I'll check your email." That is a message that the person did not send, but their email server set up to spit out an automatic email under certain conditions, right?
Right. Yeah, and so the term autoresponder when it comes to marketing, and you're right, that is a great example of something that we're all familiar with, a vacation reply setup or whatever in your email. But basically, an autoresponder is a sequential series of emails that automatically get sent from whatever email provider or email service that you use for anyone who signs up on your mailing list, or maybe for anyone who signs up on a specific mailing list of yours, because you can have multiple lists, although most musicians don't even have one and don't use that one very well, as we talked about last time. So yeah, autoresponders are great. So usually when you sign up to a list, somebody who's using an autoresponder series, that right away, that same day or within minutes, you'll get the welcome to the list. Thanks a lot. Sometimes you'll get if it has a double opt-in setup, you may have to confirm that you actually wanted it first before it officially adds you to the list. And that's cool. And a lot of people, end it there. But with an autoresponder series, let's say, I don't know, a week later or a couple days later or however long, the system will then send a second message in the series. And now you set up the content of those messages. You set up the frequency. So it could be once a week for so many weeks. Is this am I doing a good job explaining what the
Right.
marketing
An
aspect of this?
autoresponder could be nothing more than just one message that says, thanks for joining my mailing list, okay? And that's better than nothing, okay? And for those of you that are scared of the whole concept of an ongoing stream of messages, even if you just set up a vacation responder to a particular address that said, thanks for joining my mailing list, at least what happened to me won't happen to your fans. They'll get a message right away, like the day that they sign up and that you enter it in. So if nothing else, one message is good. Another example of a short one single use of an autoresponder is if sign up for my mailing list, get a free CD, free song or something. That could be done in a one burst. Now, the ongoing emails can be for lots of reasons. For instance, let's say one way you want to get people interested in, let's say you're a ukulele artist, and not only do you want people to come see your shows, but you want to offer them ukulele lessons, either paid or free, or you want to sell them ukuleles. And this could be part of your ongoing message. It'd be like, here's your free ukulele song from my new CD. Thanks for joining. Another week later, free ukulele lesson. Another couple weeks later, get $50 off, the Mr. Billy signature ukulele. And it can go on and on and on like that. Some autoresponders are set up so that once you take an action, like you actually bought the ukulele or you bought the CD, then it takes you into a whole new series of messages, that apply to that. You already have this, so we're not going to keep telling you to get this. Now we're going to ask you to get this or come see this show. You know what I'm saying, Bob?
Right, exactly. Like I have a list for people who have expressed interest in a particular topic, and then once they purchase it, it removes them from that list and assigns them to the new autoresponder. And I do use autoresponders on people that purchase stuff from my website in particular. My use of them has evolved over the years, and I got some things to keep in mind that maybe we can touch on here. But yeah, if somebody purchases a product, immediately they get thanks for the download and maybe or thanks for the order, and maybe even here's the download link, in case the system didn't take you to it, on as soon as your order was processed. Then I have like a follow-up one, where because it's great when people buy my books or my audio programs or whatever, but I want them to actually use it. So I actually send one within a week or less saying, hey, did you listen to the thing? Are you reading it yet? Are you putting it into action? It's kind of a nudge, which I think is really helpful because I want them to actually benefit from them. And then I have follow-ups. It's not all sales messages either. Sometimes I point to other resources. Hey, you know about my blog and my podcast or my YouTube channel? I send them to other stuff where they can, immerse themselves in free things. But then there's also, I'll have mentions of other for sale products.
You're not always selling. I mean, one of the things I really love about your autoresponders and your messages, and I like to point this out, no matter what you do, whether you use autoresponders or not, whether you use time shifting with your social media or not, you need to become a really great communicator with your writing. And Bob, you're a master at that.
Okay.
And you're so good you actually tick me off, sometimes because I get these messages. They're so well written and they're obviously autoresponders. But and I've known you for a long time and I've been getting your crap forever. Not that it's crap, but you know what I'm saying.
Like quality content?
Yeah, your
Yes.
quality content.
Yeah, that's it.
But the thing is, I can't half the time tell whether these are personal messages or these are your autoresponders. You're so damn good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I get really anal. I mean, when I'm crafting, whether it's an autoresponder series or just the weekly things or whatever that I send out. Yeah, I spend a lot of time on the wording, and I say, how can I say the same thing in fewer words, trying to respect people's time? How can I make more you-oriented statements, be more casual? So I'm kind of a wordsmith and have been for many decades.
I know. I mean, how many times have you got message from me say, Bob, was that message for me, or was that one to your group?
I remember that, yes.
So anyway, that's the email thing, and I'm sure we could go on and just finish the episode on that. But I'd also like to, unless you just want to keep going, you have a lot more to say. I think we should talk a little bit about some of the services and apps that can help us with social media and things like that as well.
Sure. Let's go ahead into that now then. And I think we mentioned, I think a number of times over in these 20 some odd episodes that we've done, these things have come up, but are worth repeating again. The one that I use, so there's two aspects with social media. Maybe we should talk about that. There's the place, and here we get into the physics thing that I talked about earlier. There's place, there's space and time. there's where you post things, and then when you post them. And the biggest complaint I always hear is the overwhelm social media. There's so much to do. There's so many sites. So there are ways to post to multiple places at the same time and schedule them so that your content is sort of parsed out over the course of a day or a week. One of the things that I've been using for years, is called Hootsuite. It's HOOTSUITE.com. Do you use another one, or do you use Hootsuite?
I've been using Hootsuite since the beginning. I used to have it on my BlackBerry, I believe. And also, as a FYI, Hootsuite also has been rated the number one most popular of all of the services that do this exactly. So they call it a social media management application.
Nicely, not good for them for naming it correctly.
But there are a couple of others I've had success with. A lot of people, I know the folks over at CD Baby, like Kevin Bruner, they like to use TweetDeck, which is really nice. I've used TweetDeck. I'm trying to remember. Now, I know that there's our friend Madeline Sklar is really big with Buffer.
I think it's Buffer app, I think, is maybe the name of that. I'm actually going to try to do my best to look these up and put them in the show notes at thebuzzfactor.com.
Sure.
Best I can. So I'm writing them down as we talk about them so I don't forget.
And Buffer is one of the easier ones to use for Twitter. Now, see, the thing that's really nice about Hootsuite is you can go, you can do your Facebook pages and groups and it does a variety of things, you know what I mean? And that's what I really like about that. There is, and a lot of people lately, have you tried this yet? The big buzz on the big buzz, Mr. Buzz Factor on the net is Social Flow. Have you tried that yet?
I don't even know if I've heard of Social Flow. So
yeah. A lot of the groups that I've been, that I prowl and I'm a member of, are really into Social Flow. It's like the new hot thing. And it says basically their unique proposition is that they help get your message out in front of the most real human eyes at the most optimum times possible. So I guess it has like an optimization algorithm. Boy, that sounds fancy. That helps you to schedule data to rank and so that your tweets in real time based on when your followers are the most receptive to the messages.
Right, yeah, as opposed to just randomly sending them out. I mean, there's a whole art and science. You can get into whatever level of complexity that you want with this if you're kind of geeky. And like I said, I kind of made the Neil deGrasse Tyson joke
right.
At the beginning there. But yeah, you can't really go in and analyze the data and all this stuff. Or you can just make it easy for yourself and just disperse things, at times that make sense for wherever, especially where the bulk of your people, where the time zone is. People often check things in the morning, before they go to lunch. I've heard that Twitter, like in the 11 to 2 p.m. Time period is really active. It all depends on where your peeps are and what sites they're hanging out on too. So I use Hootsuite primarily for Twitter, although you can post to Facebook. I heard a while back, I have a feeling it's still the truth, that when you use some of these third-party apps to post to Facebook, that they don't rank them as highly or show them in the news feed as much as if you were posting directly onto Facebook, because they want to avoid people that are kind of spamming.
I have no idea what Facebook is doing, to be honest with you.
Right.
I don't really, now, maybe we can agree, disagree, whatever, but I've pretty much lost a lot of faith in standard, Facebook pages. I just don't really get into Facebook pages very much. I think your personal Facebook is fine. I have no problem with that. The pages, I don't really see much benefit for anything I've done, but the Facebook groups are amazing, and everybody sees everything no matter how you post it. So for me, and you can post into groups through Hootsuite, so it just depends on how you're planning on using it and what eyes you want to get it in front of, I guess.
If you have a Facebook page, meaning a business page, as opposed to a personal profile, there's something that I keep forgetting about, and I think it's available to everyone who has a page, but you can actually, on your Facebook page, you can schedule posts instead of just posting them in real time. In fact, I read a blog post about this. I said, oh, yeah, I forgot, because I think there's a little calendar icon or something.
There is, and there's a little clock. And actually, that has been in the past when I've decided to schedule Facebook pages. I did use that. I didn't use my Hootsuite as much. So, yeah, they do have that built in, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so you can, because a lot of times to be able to think about posting at all these places in real time is challenging, because what if you spent every morning just setting up your tweets and your Facebook posts and LinkedIn or whatever for the day, and then you can go about your business, and it's like passive marketing almost, like when you're out doing other things or writing songs or gigging, these things are being posted and sprinkled around the internet for you, and then your email autoresponder is following up with people, even while you sleep.
Right. Now, the only thing is, like everything else, you can't overuse the stuff and abuse it. You still have to be there, because the whole idea of social media is to be social, to be available for commenting and create conversations. And with email, you don't want to be yelling at people. You want to have them speak to you. So no matter what you do, you still need to be present in the moment. Don't you agree?
Oh, yes, and you are a wise one, Mr. Gryzak, for pointing that out. Yeah, I shouldn't, even though we're talking about this automation thing, it has to be combined with real-time personal interactions. It's like a way to augment your real-time social interactions. It'd be like sending a clone or a blow-up doll to a network, or like a meetup group, instead of actually showing up yourself. It's not going to be very effective. Or maybe just having your brochures sitting out on the table instead of you being there face to face talking to people. There's a lot of real world analogies here. But yes, combine these two things. But I know, before we wrap this up, I'd like to basically, this falls into a bit, unless you got something to add to that before I move on, Billy.
Not to that. I do have some interesting factoids to throw in at some point about social media, but we can go on.
I love factoids.
I think they're awesome.
I like the blueberry flavored ones.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I kind of like the honey lemon. They're delicious.
Factoids. I'm going to stop at Walgreens and pick some up after this podcast.
We mentioned a lot of products in this show. We need to make sure we're getting some residuals here, man.
That's right. Flavored factoids.
Yeah. This show has been brought to you by Factoids. That's right.
It's our new sponsor. People will probably actually start searching for them. But so this is speaks to a broader topic about marketing in general, and I've hammered this home in a lot of my workshops and books over the years. But the importance of repetition over time. You know, when you're connecting with fans, especially when a new fan is brought into your world, you know, whether they saw, you know, has happened to catch you live at a festival or at a club or coffee shop or whatever, or they stumbled upon your stuff online because a friend was recommending it. You know, that first interaction with you, and especially if it's a positive one, is great, but they're going to quickly move on and forget about you. So you need to somehow stay in their world and on their radars consistently over time. And so you need to put systems in place or think about tools. How are you going to facilitate that relationship so it's not just like a hit and run kind of encounter? So you really effective marketing is thinking about repetition over time. And these are just tools to allow you to do that. Would you not agree, Mr. Factoid?
I do. Thank you, Professor Factoid too. No, I think it's really important. In fact, most of my like meme type pictures where I'll like put a picture of a kitty cat with a marketing message on it. What I'll do with those is I'll space those out usually 3 times a week for the same photo, and once in the morning one time, once in the afternoon on a different day, and once in the evening on a different day. And then I also try to tie those in with a second message that has to do with the photo, so that I keep the consistent message going, and hopefully, you know, through repetition, people will remember it. I don't know how many impressions it takes. I don't know the science behind it, but I know you have to hear about something or see something so many times before you notice it. And then you have to hear about it or see it so many times before you actually take action on it. The
Right.
Japanese actually invented this thing almost 20 years ago that's becoming popular in America now. You ever seen that thing where they'll play a TV commercial, then they'll play a different TV commercial, then they'll play the same TV commercial, or they'll play the same TV commercial back to back? You ever seen that?
I've seen like on Netflix and stuff or Hulu
Right.
Plus. I
But
see
like
the same
even on
commercial
network
over and over again. But
television,
yeah.
sometimes you'll see the same commercial back to back.
Wow.
And you'll be like, what happened? They made a mistake. No, that wasn't any mistake. What they found in Japan was that by playing the exact same commercial twice, people noticed it the second time. They didn't notice it the first time.
Wow. Yes, I guess it could cause some irritation too. But in years ago, I used to have this slide in a workshop where it was labeled as the marketing diet, and I was comparing marketing, like a lot of ways that people approach marketing with the way they approach diets, where they suddenly have this need to lose weight, and so they pour their energy into, you know, some short term thing to lose the weight, and sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not, sometimes they'll lose the weight and then go back to their old habits. But it's the people that really succeed with diets or fit, whatever, make it a lifestyle. You know, they make it an ongoing part of their being. And unfortunately, or not, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, being an effective marketer, it's really got to just be a part of your routine as an artist. Again, not to manipulate people, but it's, you know, you need to become an evangelist for the good vibe that your music provides to people, and on a daily basis, you got to be thinking about, how can I spread this message to new fans? How can I keep in touch with existing fans? But if you just do it for short term and then you fall off the wagon, all that effort's going to kind of go to waste.
That's absolutely true. I mean, look at McDonald's. Again, here we go, another sponsor. Look at McDonald's. I mean, do they still need to advertise? Absolutely they do. You know, that's why they're number one. You know what I mean? And even as other companies, I'm just using food analogies now since you said dieting.
Yeah.
Like Subway, you know, they're like number 2, and they've just... and as they've become more and more popular, they've ramped up their presence. They've ramped up their social media. They ramped up. I mean, whoever thought you'd see? I gotta tell you. I'm going to totally digress, but I'll bring this around. You know, I don't know if a lot of people know, but in between doing trying to be a rock star in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, and being a children's singer-songwriter producer in the 2000s, I had some health issues, and I ended up going into straight traditional marketing not for musicians. I had a internet marketing design, website design, and internet marketing consulting company in the early mid 90s, which this was a brand new thing. And even just getting people to have websites was like pulling teeth, right?
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, the thought, like people would say to me, you know, what do I need a website for, you know, in the 90s? And then now with social media, I drive by gas stations that say like us on Facebook. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Gas stations, Girl Scout troops. It's like everybody, is doing social media now. Everybody. And in fact, check this out. Do you know that the largest growing demographic on Twitter, you ready for this? Is the
bracing.
55 to 64-year-old age bracket. Did you know that?
I did. I've heard that. Yeah, the early adopters with any technology are usually younger people. But yeah, I've heard very often whether it's whatever social media platform. Yeah, it's the older generation. It's finally they call them laggards.
Yeah.
in marketing terms.
But now check this out.
Yeah.
189 million of Facebook's users are mobile only. Only. And here's the thing. It's really interesting. There was a study, and it says 25% of smartphone owners ages 18 to 44 say they can't recall the last time their smartphone wasn't next to them.
Wow, yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's just amazing,
This must be the factoid segment of the podcast.
Yeah, I just decided to jump into the factoids.
I felt it.
And check this out. Now, since we've had kind of a risque episode anyway with all the talk about like asses and stuff, I'll just throw this one out here. Ready? Social media has overtaken porn as the #1 activity on the internet.
No way.
I'm serious.
I can't believe it had a bigger draw.
I know. Social media, man. And so if you're not using social media, you're in trouble. And you got to find a way not to spend all your time on social media because, after all, you are a musician. You should be performing. You should be playing and writing and releasing music. But you still got to get your messages out there. And sometimes, okay, Bob, let's go back now. Let's go back to where we were. On Twitter, how many Twitter messages do you recommend that people send out a day?
Well, there's no set amount, but with Twitter you can go nuts because it's such an ever flowing. So I'm at the point where I'm about at one an hour. I mean, there are people that do one every 15 minutes or whatever. And again, it's easier to automate that stuff. But even if you're doing it a few times a day, easily you can do that on Twitter. Not so much on Facebook.
Now let's talk about Facebook. Yeah. What do you recommend for Facebook?
So you're talking about either personal or a page?
No. Let's talk about for business. For our musician friends out there.
I mean, I think you could do up to once or twice a day, but most people or less. But I think you're fine doing at least one a day and maybe even more. A couple times, 3 times. That's not overly bombarding people.
Right. And what about the other popular social media services and sites? Are there any that you recommend or that you think is relevant? I've had really good luck over time with things like Pinterest. YouTube is huge.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with
Instagram. Anything else that you think is interesting?
Well, even though a lot of people are confused by it or don't know, you think you should have a Google Plus account just because it's tied into Google. I mean, they're always changing things. They had this thing, I even wrote a blog post on it like less than a year ago about a Google authorship, with your little photo would show up next to search results. And so I set my sites up, and it was really cool to see my photo, next to my results. And then they just recently did away with that for the most part. So I said, so you just never know when it's going to be changing. There's still a lot of advantages to Google Plus. LinkedIn can't hurt. Pinterest, especially if you have visual things to share, whether they're recordings from you in the studio or during your live shows or with fans or whatever. But don't try to spend an equal amount of time on all of these sites. Pick one or two, or maybe 2 or 3 to sort of dominate and focus your attention on, and maybe then just kind of pop in and post things in other places.
I totally agree. And speaking of YouTube, though, this doesn't relate directly to our. Well, actually, I guess it could. I'll tie it into autoresponders. Check this out. Did you know that YouTube? This is mind-boggling, but I've actually used my kids as kind of my kids and my kids' friends as an informal poll to see if this was true, and then I found the facts and it supports it. It's blowing my mind. YouTube reaches more adults aged 18 to 34 than any cable TV network.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's the new way to watch TV.
That's
Yeah.
right. It says, the study I was reading, it was actually, who was this? This was from Fast Company. They said TV used to be the best way to reach the masses, but in the 18 to 34-year-olds in the U.S., you have more luck reaching them through YouTube. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's why I recommend, as far as those like sites that you pick the 2 or 3 to focus on. I mean, you really can't go wrong with making YouTube one of those.
Now,
It's just so powerful.
Right now, what I recommend you do, and then there's a couple of ways of looking at this. You can use your autoresponders and your time shifting social media management tools to send links to the YouTube pages, to send links to your website, even better, where you've embedded your videos. Because I always believe it's better to send people to a web page that you design and you control the advertising, you control the message and the look, where you've embedded the video, rather than send them to YouTube and where they're exposed to YouTube's advertisers. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. And in fact, I believe you got that. That idea was reinforced when in one of the master classes that I taught, if I remember right. You gave me credit for reminding you of that very thing. Yes, you can send them to YouTube, but yeah, if you can embed that video on your site, and that's where you send people to watch it, it's a much more personal experience, and
It's a little more work, but it's really great.
Yeah, and that's another thing to think about. Yeah, you can cross-pollinate these things. Don't just think, I got to post one thing on Facebook and a separate thing over here. And no, you can multiply. That's another way to multiply and be multiple places at the same time. You post it on YouTube, you embed it on your website, you post links to it on Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook. And so, yeah, from one thing you get many distribution points. I call them tentacles when I talk about octopus marketing, which we won't get into now, but yeah. So think about this being in multiple. It's time and space. How can you be in multiple places and then in multiple times over the day, over the week, over the month, and also thinking about past, present, and future, which I mentioned in the intro, as it relates to your fans. Your past customers are people that are already in the tent. They're on your list. They maybe have purchased things from you. They're at your shows. How can you continue to engage with them? Presently, these are people that are just finding out and engaging with you now. So how can you serve them and speak to them to get them, to come to shows and be on your list and all that good stuff? And then in the future, there are tons of people, millions of people around the world who are predisposed to like you. What systems can you put in place to attract them so that you bring them into your world, and they will someday be those past customers and fans or whatever. So yeah, I like to think of things in that way.
Cool. Well, everybody back into the TARDIS now.
That's right. Are you Doctor Who fans?
So anyway, sounds great. So you mentioned the octopus. What do you say next week we take them to the Garden of Octopus Marketing?
I love it. I love the concept that we have both stumbled upon in our own ways.
Yeah, I invented it,
over the years. I know. I think you beat me to it, although I didn't hear it from. Yeah, it's really great minds. We tap into.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, which came first, the Bob or the Billy? That's
the octopus or the egg octopus. Something like
anyway,
that.
So where can we reach you, Bob? What you got going on?
Oh, God, all kinds of stuff. Just go to thebuzzfactor.com for all my music marketing stuff and to get your free copy of the Music Marketing Secrets Report and other goodies. If you just sign up for that, I would love to stay in touch with you and get you on my list and swirling in my world in that way.
Beautiful.
Oh.
And I have a request for any of our folks out there that are listening that derive their income from music. So in other words, if you make your income from playing live shows, great. Or if you make your income from studio work or YouTube or even teaching lessons or anything to do with music, I'd like to hear from you. And what I'm looking for are some blurbs, because I have a new podcast starting in September called Making Money, Making Music. And I'm looking for some blurbs to say like, hi, I'm Mr. Billy, and I make music, and I make money, and you're listening to the Making Money, Making Music, whatever. We'll explain it, but if you could reach out to me at Music Market Mind, I would appreciate it, and I want to get some blurbs ready to go for the new podcasts.
It sounds awesome. Can't wait to hear it, my friend.
I know. Me neither, man. I'm going to be the biggest fan.
Cool. Hey, get out there and enjoy the water park today.
All right, man. All right, and we get into the time machine.
That's I'm trying to remember the Doctor Who sound.
It's really funny. I'm doing all these. I've never seen Doctor Who.
You kidding me? Oh,
No,
wow.
and the thing is, I'm like the world's biggest Star Trek and sci-fi fan, and I know everybody's going to be sending me nasty tweets and emails now saying, how can you call yourself a sci-fi fan if you don't do Who? So I'm going to have to get into that.
It's time to do some Who.
Do some Who.
Yes.
Hey, it's another sponsor.
Yeah, do the Who. All right, man. Everybody have a good week. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you, and we'll be back next week with more.
We'll see you in the future.
Yes, indeed. So long.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you still there? Excellent! Now would be a good time to visit hostbaby.com for your free 30-day trial, of course.
You like? Is that too much?
No, that was perfect.
I thought about the Neil deGrasse Tyson. I said, should I actually say that? But
Oh, I love it.
Neil deGrasse. Some people, a lot of people know who he is, but
Oh my gosh.
those
that's
who
great.
do will enjoy it. You like that?
I love it. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.